we are going to speak about something which is very interesting and exciting as well. We are going to speak about cybersecurity for project managers. I am Rajiv Siras. Basically, I have 15 years of experience in the field of information security. And I would like to thank the whole PMI team for giving me this opportunity today to speak about cybersecurity. I will take your questions if you have any at the end of the session. Thank you. So let's start. So the world is changing, technology is changing, the way that we are conducting businesses is changing. Today we are living in the world of artificial intelligence. We are living in the era of Internet of Things. Artificial intelligence is taking the world by storm. Today, for example, if you are going on a website and you want customer support, if you're chatting, most probably you're chatting with a chatbot, which is basically a robot. Today, artificial intelligence has the power to inhibit human intelligence. And the application of artificial intelligence is in every field. Today, regardless of any field that you operate, technology is inextricably linked to your industry. Today, we are living in the era of Internet of Things. Today, everything is connected to the internet. You have your home that will be connected to the internet. Your TV will be connected to the internet. Your cars will be connected to the internet. And with the advent of all those technology, the world is changing drastically. Today, with artificial intelligence, for example, you have the ability using predictive analytics. There's a system called IBM Watson, which can give the outcome of a legal case, and it performs in some cases better than human beings. Technology is in fact a threat as well in some areas, for example, with autonomous driving, with Internet of Things. There are some jobs that won't be exist in the years to come. So how is the world changing for project managers? Today, the project manager is someone who is highly connected. A project manager today makes massive use of collaborative tools, of cloud technologies. He's someone who is highly connected on his mobile devices, on his mobile phone, on his tablet, laptop. Today, more than ever, we have the application of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and blockchain technology in all the tools that are available. And today, we can't dissociate technology from project management. To deliver successfully projects today, we need to have technology. We need to make massive use of technology. And with all those technological advances, there exists massive security risk. This is what that we are going to speak today. I am going to give you some cybercrime statistics. For example, by the year 2020, we had approximately 10 billion malware attacks. When we speak about malware, malware is an umbrella term that comprises of all types of malicious software. For example, a virus is a malware, a ransomware is a malware, a Trojan horse is a malware. So today we have more than 10 billion malware attacks in the year 2020 only. And the average ransom that you need to pay if you have been subject to a ransomware. What is a ransomware? You receive an email with an attachment, and that attachment looks legitimate. And the moment that you double click on that attachment, what happens? All your files get encrypted on your desktop, on your PC. And what happens at this point in time? You lose access to all your information. And what you need to do is you need to pay ransom to those hackers to get your information back. And when you pay ransom, basically what happens, they will give you a code, like a long password that you will need to input to decrypt your information. And today, businesses that have been subject to ransomware needed to pay approximately 111,000 USD, according to the Coveware report of 2020. Today, business email account compromise is the number one reason of cyber claims, followed by ransomware. I will come later in this presentation what business email account compromise is about. Today, we have more than 24,000 malicious mobile apps that are blocked every day. If today you are using your mobile phone, you need to know that there are approximately 8.9 million apps that are available today on the app stores, irrespective that you are using Apple or you're using Android. And out of which 24,000 mobile apps come with malicious code every day. So basically, if you install those malicious apps, they can track you, they can spy on you. There are many bad things that can happen. In 2020, we need to know that there are more than 300 billion passwords that is in use. Basically, currently we have a population of 7.4 billion, and with more than 300 billion passwords, you can imagine how many passwords we are using. We have more than 25 billion devices connected to the internet. Today, it's no longer about your PC being connected to the internet. It's no longer about only your phone being connected to the internet. Today, you can have a pacemaker for someone suffering from heart disease or suffering from high blood pressure. They are fitted with a pacemaker, and that pacemaker is connected to the internet. So basically, if you have someone sick, you can go on the internet and you can have a live monitoring of someone's blood pressure or even diabetes. So all those things exist nowadays. Today we talk about phishing, vishing, smishing, farming attacks. Basically, when we talk about social engineering attacks, today, we will go in detail about what is a phishing attack, what is a vishing attack, what is a smishing attack, what is a farming attack, and how we can prevent those attacks. So some more cyber security statistics. We have around 37 billion URL today. We have more than 842 million domains. For example, if you're using Google, google.com is a domain today. We have more than 842 million domains registered, and the cybercrime cost today is approximately 2.9 million USD every minute. Basically, just imagine that cybercrime is costing us around more than 100 million rupees every minute. And today we have more than 4 billion public IP addresses. Each time that you connect to the internet, you have a public IP address that is assigned to your home router. Basically, when you are connected to the internet, you are exposed today to 4 billion public IP addresses. So today we are talking about many different attacks. I am going just to show you some of the attacks that is going on right now. Let me just share that screen, please. If you see that screen right now, it's a live cyber threat map. Basically, what you are seeing here, it's called live attacks going on. Those attacks can be targeted to governmental organizations. It can be targeted to websites called distributed denial of service. You can access this live threat map. You just type checkpoint live cyber threat map, and you will have access to those threat map. You have another one from Fortinet. Basically, you will see those are real attacks going on right now. If we are 930, those are like distributed denial of service attack going targeted to governmental organization, to public website. Today, all those attacks can be tracked via different vendors. For example, here you are looking at Fortinet live threat map, and you will see that there's a distributed denial of service coming from China and targeted to the United States. So basically, those attacks are on a continuous basis. You can get information like, just one more, please. You can get more information about, for example, how many attacks have been occurring today only. It's more than 99 million attacks that have occurred today only. So let's continue with the presentation. Today, we also talk about Internet of Things. Today, it's no longer, as I explained to you before, it's no longer about your phone connected to the internet. It's no longer about your laptop connected to the internet. Today, You have a search engine like you have Google that can search for website. You have a search engine for Internet of Things. It's called shodan.io. I am going just to briefly show you this search engine. If you go on shodan.io, for example, you can type, for example, television. You will see today all the smart television that are connected to the internet. Right now, I am getting a list of television that are connected to the internet. I can search, for example, for cameras. For example, if I type camera, all those are public available cameras that are accessible to the internet. Basically, if you have at home your camera, it is highly probable if your camera has a public IP address, it can come on that search engine, and you can just open that page and get access to that camera directly. And if you're using a particular brand, for example, you can just type the username and you try the username, the default username and password, and get access. For example, this is HIK Vision. You can type the default username and password, and someone may be sitting in another part of the world and watching what you are doing at your place. So all the things are possible today. So this is the Internet of Things search engine. Today, when we talk about the internet, we normally speak about the surface web. Today, the surface web is the internet that we are all making use of. For example, if you're using Google, if you're using Bing, if you're using Wikipedia, if you're using LinkedIn, this is called only the surface web. And that surface web today forms only 4% of the internet. There is 90% of the internet that you don't see. It's called the deep web. This is where the banks are having the information on the internet. There are medical records, there are scientific reports, there are financial records. Basically, this deep web, they are not accessible by using your normal search engine like Google. Today, there is one part of the internet which is very scary. It's called the dark web. And in that dark web, which forms 6% of the internet, and this part of the dark web, you access it using some specialized tools like the Tor network, if you have heard of the Tor network. And in the dark web, what is very, very scary, you get everything which is illegal. For example, there are, you can buy gun arms, you can buy drugs, you can buy everything. Some people even can hire someone to kill someone. This is even possible on the dark web. And this, if you research the dark web, there are many scary things that happen. So anything that gets stolen, for example, if you have a company, you have intellectual property, everything that gets stolen, most probably the bad guys, the criminals will go on the dark web and sell your information on the dark web. So basically today, you know, only 4% of the internet. Today, what you need to understand is why cyber criminals are getting a hand on us, because of social engineering. Social engineering is the art of manipulating people so that they give up confidential information. It has nothing to do with the engineering world. It's the use of some deceptive manipulation, some psychological manipulation that makes you click on some links or give some information to people that are, for example, if your organization is, I'm sure that your organization has the required level of protection today in terms of the firewall, in terms of antivirus, in terms of the anti-malware. But for example, a cyber criminal can just send you an email with an infected attachment. This is enough to infect your whole network. Today, I am going to just to show you a quick exercise how people are using deception, how they are using manipulation. I am going to show you a screen, and in 10 seconds, you just need to count the number of F that you see on the screen. So in 10 seconds, just count the number of F that you see on the screen. I am going to show you how the bad guys use deception. So if I tell you how many Fs did you see, I am pretty sure that many of you guys have seen only 3 F, but basically we have 6F, for example, here's one, finish is one, the files is one. Of the years here, you have of, you have another one, you have of here. So if you count the number of F in scientific, in of, there are basically 6F. And very often, how the bad guys are making use of some psychological manipulation. For example, today, if you're using eBay, you get an email from someone, Ricky at eBay, e-bay.com. You need to understand that this guy is not from eBay. e-bay.com is not eBay. It's a fake, it's a spoof domain that is trying to look like eBay. If someone sends you an email from Emirates and that email comes from emirates.travel.com, it's not Emirates, it's travel.com. So someone is using some spoofed domain again. For example, you get an email from mcb.bank.com. This is not MCB Bank. It's a spoof. Again, they are using bank.com and they have created a subdomain. This is not the email of British Airways. So today you have many psychological manipulation in terms of ways that people use to make you think that you're dealing with the right organization. You need to understand that an email consists of 3 parts, but what is very important is the domain name that you see to the right. Ensure that the domain name is actually belongs to the company that you are dealing with. And today we have very sophisticated email attack where companies are using what we call open relays to send information. I will come on that part at a later point in time. So for example, if you see this website, if I ask you what this website is about, most probably you will tell me that this is PayPal. This is not PayPal.com. If you see the domain name is confirmation-manager-security.com. This is the domain name. So basically, the bad guy purchased that domain name, confirmation-manager-security.com, and he just created a subdomain which is called PayPal.com in front. But as you saw the PayPal, you have seen the PayPal.com, you might think that this belongs actually to the PayPal website. Today, we are being subject to many attacks concerning ransomware. What is a ransomware? It's basically a malicious software. When executed, it encrypts all your files on your computer, and it is delivered mainly via email or infected web links. So how a ransomware attack occurs, basically you get an email from someone. For example, if you see that email, the first red flag that you will see, if you're expecting an email from American Express, you can't get a domain name, American Express support center.ml. For example, this email contains an infected attachment looks like a PDF file. Basically, it's not a PDF file, it's an executable file. As soon as you double click on that file, you are basically running a ransomware. And what happens when you run a ransomware? If you see all those icons, all your icons on your desktop will become encrypted. And at that point in time, you will see that all your icons on your desktop will become like white icons. And when you double click, nothing will happen. And what happens at this point in time, if you see a screen will pop up, for example, one of the ransomware, WannaCry gives you that screen and they will ask you payment via Bitcoins. Why Bitcoins? Because when you make payment via cryptocurrency, you don't have any traceability. For example, if you pay via your credit card, legal enforcement bodies can trace where the payment went through. For example, if you are going to make a payment via a virtual currency like Bitcoin, they use a string of characters and there is no way that you can know where your money has gone. There are so many companies nowadays that have been subject to a ransomware attack. And if you think that when you have been subject to a ransomware attack, you can crack that encryption, just see below, an average desktop computer takes 6.4 quadrillion years to crack the encryption key that the bad guys are making use. So how can you protect your organization from a ransomware attack? You should avoid downloading attachments from unknown sources. Ensure that you check the domain name and the source of email well. You need to have an activated and updated total internet security protection suite, and ensure that you have regular backup of your data on different media access. Some people do have their information backup, but the moment that they have got a ransomware on their PC, unfortunately, their backup drive is connected to their PC. The ransomware encrypts their PC and also encrypt the drive that is connected to the USB at the same time. So it is very important each time that you do a backup, ensure that you disconnect your data disk. I would like you to take note of this. I am going to give you 5 tools, 5 powerful tools that you can make use to defeat malware. For example, tomorrow, if you are getting an email from someone and you are getting an attachment and you don't know if that attachment is trustworthy, basically you have a site called virustotal.com. Virustotal.com is a site by Google. Virustotal.com, what is very interesting with that site, it scans any file that you can upload on that with all available antivirus that currently exists. For example, there are more than 70 antivirus. For example, if you take your file, you scan it, it will be scanned by 70 antivirus. There's another tool called Norton Power Eraser that you can download for free. This tool will allow you to scan your whole computer and ensure that your computer is not infected with a malware. You have Web of Trust. Web of Trust will ensure each time that you do a search on Google, it will give you a rating of the site following the Google search. And if the site, if you get a red cross at that site, you can know that this site is not trustworthy. There's another tool called Open DNS Family Shield. For example, if you're giving your PC, your tablet to children, you need to enable the Open DNS Family Shield. What happens? It will block all adult contents on your PC. You have one called Windows Sys Internal Process Explorer, which is a very powerful tool. This can be downloaded for free from the Windows website. This is for the tech savvy. I'm just going to show you here how it looks like, the Windows Sys Internal Tools. Basically, it will show you all processes that is currently running on your computer, and each process will be scanned with the VirusTotal 73 antivirus tools. And if you find any one which is flagged here, for example, none of the antivirus of the 70 antivirus has flagged anything red on my computer, running actually on my computer. So basically, it's clean. So now I am going to show you the difference between phishing, spear phishing, and whaling attack. All those attacks come via email. And you need to understand that the majority attacks that you will get today will be via email. What is a phishing attack? Basically, a phishing attack is an attack where you will get an infected attachment or an infected web link, or someone telling you to perform some unauthorized transaction. What is important when you get an email, you need to ensure that you check the domain name. For example, if you check this email they claim to be from Amazon, and when you check the domain name is host.swscloud.com. It's not from amazon.com. An email from Amazon should come from amazon.com. If you see that email, there are lots of grammatical errors. This is a red flag as well. Look at update your payment in method. You will see payment with an extra e, method with an extra e. Those are red flags. So basically, what you need to ensure to look is you need to confirm who that email comes from. Check that email address of the sender. Check the domain name. Check for any spelling or grammatical error. Check for any malicious link. From the tool virustotal.com, what is very interesting, I just want to show you quickly the tool virustotal.com. Just one moment. The virustotal.com, you can even put a link. For example, I don't know if there's a link, virus.com. I don't think this is an infected link. you can scan the link, and the link will be scanned using more than 70 anti-malware software. Similarly, you can take any file that you get, you choose that file. You need to ensure that you don't double click and open that file. You confirm the upload. Once the file is uploaded, the file will be scanned with more than 70 tools. And if any one of those tools flag it as inappropriate or dangerous, I would advise you not to open it. Even if 1 or 2 flags it. This is a clean file. Basically, last week, I got an email from FedEx. And in that file, there were more than 70 or 80 viruses. And those have been flagged by almost all the 73 antivirus that VirusTotal.com makes use of. So those are the red flags. The sender can be sending you email from public email address like Gmail. They can use domain spoofing. Very often they create a sense of urgency, telling you to do something very quick. There are poor spelling and grammar mistakes. They use domain spoofing, and very often there's lack of contact information on the emails that they send you. You need to ensure that to check the contact information. If it is a legitimate company, you will get the company's email, you will get the company's physical address, the company's phone number as well. Now, what is spear phishing email? Spear phishing email is a more sophisticated type of email attack. Here, the attacker will do some background check on you. He will search you on Google, get some information on Facebook, on LinkedIn, what is your position. And this is an example of a spear phishing email. The sender will send an email to you with your name and give you specific information. It will be highly customized, and you will think that the sender that is sending you that email knows you. Basically, they are the same attackers. So you need to be very careful when you are dealing with a spear phishing email as well. The next one, which is causing lots of losses worldwide, is called business email compromise. What is a business email compromise? What is the difference between a business email compromise and the normal phishing and spear phishing? With a business email compromise, you normally do not get any links or any attachment on that email. Basically, what happens here is someone will claim to be either your CEO or claim to be someone in power. For example, look at this email. For example, John Doe is the CEO of a company. Someone is using some fake domain name and created some type of email like john@services.com.au. And they are trying to use some domain name which is very similar to yours. And what they will tell you, for example, this email can be directed to the CFO. Hi, Sandra, sorry to spring this on you with late notice. I need you to make an urgent payment to Ostec Logistic New Bank account ASAP, as they won't deliver on time. They will put a sense of urgency each time that you get an email to make a payment. What I will advise you is to make some type of out-of-band communication. Use your phone, your mobile phone, call the person in question and ask for a verification. That is very important. There's another type of attack that is going on. It's called email account compromise. What happened here is a cyber criminal compromises an employee email. For example, if you're using an Outlook, the moment that you do send and receive, and if you're not using encryption on your Outlook, on your PUB or SMTP server, you're using plain text. The moment that you are doing send and receive and you're sitting on a public Wi-Fi, your email and your password will be sent in plain text. So at this moment, the bad guy will get your email and your password and will have access to your email and your password, and he can read your email anytime, and he will choose the right moment to send an email to cause some time of financial transaction where even your CFO, at this point in time, your CFO will get the exact email because it's the exact email that he will make use because he got the actual email and the actual password. This is a very dangerous type of attack. And how do we cater can we prevent? We need to change our passwords regularly and make use of strong passwords. What is smishing and phishing attacks? Smishing, basically, you get the same attack like phishing, but on a SMS. Smishing and phishing attack is very common nowadays. If you are getting calls on WhatsApp from numbers that you don't know and they are claiming they are from banks, this is basically a phishing attack where someone can ask you for very confidential information. So phishing attack is a method of social engineering. So now I will have a question for you. What is the most conventional way that users protect their accounts online? Basically, you have different ways, but the most conventional ways to use passwords. But today, the solution is not passwords. Today, we need to make use of passphrase. Passwords are very weak. For example, today with the tools that hackers have available, they can crack a 15 characters passwords in 15 seconds. Examples of weak passwords are password 123. Those passwords can be cracked within seconds. And today we need to ensure that whenever we are going to use a password, we need to make a sentence. For example, Mauritius at my favorite destinations 2021. Password should be very long. For example, the fastest car is SSC to Ouattara. I said SSC to Ouattara max speed 508 kilometers per hour. This is a password. Don't use passwords as I have shown at the below, because those are very complex passwords. They are very strong passwords, but those passwords have a major drawback. They are very, very difficult to remember. So basically, you will save it on a notepad, you will put it on your desktop, and then you will save the password file as password. So anyone can double click on your notepad on your desktop and get a very complex password. So it doesn't make sense to use such type of password. And when it comes to passwords, length matters more than complexity. Many people think that complexity of passwords is more important, but when we deal with passwords, a length of the passwords, size of the passwords matters more. So how the bad actors are using or cracking password nowadays, this you need to know as well. You need to understand if you're using accounts, they are asking you to set password reset questions. Today, hackers, you are using very strong password. They just click on forget password and they ask you very common question, like the password reset questions can be, what is your high school? What is the name of your high school, or what is the name of your best friend? This is how Sarah Palin, who worked for the US vice president election in 2008, her password got cracked. And all the 2 questions for the password reset questions were available on Wikipedia. Unbelievable. Today, there is a type of password which uses SMS recovery. SMS recovery, what happens, basically, you get a message from someone saying that they will send you, you will get a message on your mobile for a code, for an authentication code. Basically, what happened, you have enabled dual factor authentication. It's the bad guy will send you a message first that you will receive a code, and to send him back the code once you receive the code. So what he does, basically, you get that message first, he goes to your account, says, I forget password, then the recovery code comes on your mobile phone, the bad guy asks you for that recovery code, you send that recovery code to that bad guy, he puts that recovery code, resets your passwords, and then he changes your passwords and you use legitimate access to your account. Today you have virtual keyboard. When you are doing internet banking, make sure that you are making use of virtual keyboard. Virtual keyboard, basically, if you have a spyware on your computer, a spyware can know exactly what you are typing on your computer. For example, if you are typing a password, a spyware is a malicious software, is a type of malware that records every keystroke on your computer. For example, if you're using the virtual keyboard, you are going to use your mouse to click for your password. Very often, this defeats the spyware because they don't know where you're clicking. But unfortunately, lately, I have read that there are spyware that are taking screenshots nowadays. So some like 3-4% of spyware can even take screenshot when you are clicking on your password. But with this, using virtual keyboard, you can bypass 94-95% of spyware. Ensure that you cover your webcam. Today, there are spyware that can activate your webcam, even disabling the light that appears besides your webcam when your webcam is activated. Whenever you are not using your webcam, just ensure you're putting a piece of paper, anything, on top of your webcam, as Mark Zuckerberg, as you are seeing in this video. There are bad guys that are using hardware keyloggers, same as a USB key. Ensure whenever you are using a public computer, you don't use confidential, you don't access confidential accounts, because a hardware keylogger can record everything. Basically, the bad guy connects the hardware keylogger, and what connects to that hardware keylogger is your keyboard. Everything that you type on your keyboard will be stored on that USB stick. And whenever you go out, they just remove that USB stick, plug it in. It comes with a software. They download everything that you have typed. For example, if you have typed your email, what will come next is your password. They will get everything. Public Wi-Fi, ensure whenever you go on a public Wi-Fi, you set your public Wi-Fi to public network. Because why public network? Because when you choose public network, your firewall is automatically adjusted to prevent all incoming traffic to your computer. If you choose home network, it means that you are trusting all computers on the network. So this is very important. Whenever you go on a public Wi-Fi, choose public network. Some public Wi-Fi security tips: ensure that you do not connect to public Wi-Fi and perform your transaction. There are rogue access points. It just takes a couple of minutes. Someone downloads a software and ensures that you connect to that public Wi-Fi. Basically, you're connecting to the bad guy, and they will give you access to the internet, but it will be a man-in-the-middle attack. They get all the information that you will get access. Use a VPN software, use dual-factor authentication, which is available on all accounts today. Antivirus, if you're using an antivirus is effective if you have an updated antivirus definition. If you don't have an antivirus, updated antivirus definition, it doesn't make sense to use an antivirus. Use dual-factor authentication. Dual-factor authentication, basically, when you access an account, you get a code on your mobile phone. All accounts today give you access to dual-factor authentication: Facebook, Gmail, Yahoo, everything. This is the last slide. Whenever you are using very confidential information, ensure that you are using mobile data, because mobile data is much more secure than public Wi-Fi, and you should ensure that to enable your VPN as well if you're using any types of secure transaction. We have 2 slides left, but I don't think that will be very important. So if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer you. Here's my email address, my phone number. I can be contacted via LinkedIn as well, but for the time being, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer your questions. I hope that this has been informative for you, and I thank you for watching this presentation.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Definitely, I believe that has been very informative for everyone. I mean, for myself, like lots of things that, we didn't know. We are using the internet every day, all day long, for work, for everything. And we do have a lot of risk as it seems, right? Even like talking about the dark web, which is quite scary indeed. Yeah, so definitely a very informative session. Thanks a lot for that. And from the audience, we do have 2 questions. The first one is about how do we protect information handled and stored by third-party vendors?
By third-party vendors, yes. How do you, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so how do we protect information handled and stored by third-party vendors? And the question is from Gulshan, actually.
Yes, if you have third-party vendors, you are storing those information on site. Basically, what you can do is you need to ensure that you are encrypting those information. Your encryption is the key to protection. Whenever you are encrypting information, ensure that you are encrypting information in transit, and then you're encrypting information at rest as well. You need to ensure that the encryption is both in transit and at rest. So this is very important. Encryption is the key to protection.
Okay, thank you so much. And the second question goes as follows, again from Gulshan. So we usually take insurance for cars, health, etc. But do we have cyber insurance?
Yes, that's a very good question indeed. Nowadays, we have cyber insurance. For example, many companies in the United States, they are protected against ransomware. They are protected against many types of cyber attacks. Today, many insurance in Mauritius as well, they are providing some types of cyber coverage. You just need to ensure that the insurance you're taking for your organization covers your intellectual property and covers also some types of cyber attacks as well. Yes.
Okay, all right, great. And another question that has just come in, so from Mr. Ashish Ramjawan. So do you think project managers should enforce use of a password manager tool or software for use in projects, for team members to use?
Yes, I do think that for project managers, a password manager is very important because password managers help you to securely store all your passwords, but you need to ensure that you are getting access to legitimate software. There are many free software that contains many malware. The moment that you are installing it for free, ensure that you check the legitimacy of that software before using, but I would highly recommend that you use password managers.
Definitely. Okay, thank you, Rajiv. Another question, this one is from Sarita. So what are the statistics for attacks from within the organization?
Oh, that's a very good question. Basically, the biggest threat that comes nowadays is not outside the organization. Basically, they come from former employees. So I don't have the statistics in mind, but it's very important to protect organization from insider threats as well. Basically, insider threats, they know the internal mechanics of your organization. They know how your organization operates. They know what are the different defenses in place, what are the defense in-depth mechanism that your organization is using. If your organization is using multi-layered security, they will try to circumvent that. So basically, insider threats is one of the major. Very often when you hear a company being attacked or has been subject to an attack, very often they come from former employees to that organization.
Okay. Yeah, all right, that's great.
Any more questions?
I think we have a last one for you here. So once again, from Mr. Ashish Ramjawan. So do you think that our national ID card, which holds data about us, ensures that the data will not get lost or stolen easily?
This is a tricky question. I would like to answer, but our national ID, everything is moving in the digital way. Sooner or later, we will, but I don't know the level of protection. Basically, what information they have, they are very private information. Today, we have the Data Protection Act 2017, which is in line with the General Data Protection Regulation. I hope that the governmental organization and authorities are taking the right steps to protect those information, because here we need to ensure that we are protecting our private information. There's a demarcation between privacy and confidentiality. Confidentiality is about information. Privacy is about our personal life. Basically, we need to ensure that I'm pretty sure they have taken the required steps to protect our information, our private information. Okay,
all right, thank you. We got another one actually. So yes, from Mr. Ashwin, I think it's a topic that is of interest to everyone here. Yeah. So definitely lots of questions. So from Mr. Ashwin Churkan, so how can we measure the rate that our data for example, on a PC is vulnerable?
Oh, how can you measure if your data on your PC is vulnerable? To protect your PC, to protect the data on your PC, you need to ensure that you have a multi-layered strategy. You know, there's not one solution, there's no panacea, like a one solution, the magic potion that can provide you the full protection. You need to adopt a multi-layered security. The first thing that you need to ensure you have an anti-malware software on your PC. You need to ensure that software is updated with the latest anti-malware virus definition. You need to ensure that your PC is patched. Patching is very important. You need to ensure all your accounts on your PC are protected with dual-factor authentication. You need also to ensure that your PC have different accounts for different users. For example, if your kids are using your PC, never give your kids an account with administrative rights. Most probably they will go on a gaming site which is loaded with malware, which will infect your whole PC or will put your PC will leave your PC with a spyware. So the approach to ensure that your data is safe on your PC is to adopt a multi-layered security approach. So I've talked about patching, update all your software. I have talked about dual-factor authentication. I have talked about using very strong password. I have talked about an anti-malware software with an updated virus definition. I have also talked about different tools like virustotal.com. Don't forget that tool. Don't forget to ensure that you take the necessary steps when you're receiving emails. So there are so many things that you need to do to ensure that your data is protected on your PC.